Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, chat. This is a YouTube video for you guys that will help you through the next couple of areas. We're going to start with the Shallows, Mariner's Keep, and Orban Glades. This will be a few videos to help you guys out, so that way you can find a bunch of secret hidden treasures, where to find important items, and overall just how to get through the area and progress your journey through Isola Sacra, which is the world that No Rest for the Wicked is set in. Whenever you start a character, you will be prompted to start a realm and choose whether or not you want to do the prologue. If you do the prologue, that'll help you learn the basics of the game: movement, attacking, sidling, and other things like that. It's important to do, but if you're an experienced gamer, you can skip it. If not, then, or if you do skip it, then you will show up here on the shoreline, and from here is where we'll get started. The most important thing that you can do is to start the quest line here. You literally just run straight forward, and there's a guy here who gives you dialogue and stuff. But before we progress forward, there's two things you can do here. You can either take a few more steps forward up here, because there will always be a weapon within this area. There's a body right here that you can pick up a weapon off of, and then anything loot wise, these blue circles on the ground will be loot of some kind. We just picked up some money there, and you want to open every chest that you see or come across, because they're always tucked away in everywhere. But after we grab that weapon, you can equip it and run through. I'm, for all intents and purposes, running through on a max level character, so I don't have to play the wait game on stuff. But as you run over to this side of the map, you'll see there's this nice little barricade here. If you hit it, it will reveal a secret. And that secret being a nice chest hidden here. This should usually always spawn here. I don't think I've ever started the game and there wasn't a spawn here. So that should always be there. Plus some lore stuff if you are interested in lore. Next, you want to keep on progressing across this, pick up all the loot that you can. This dot should always be a woodcutting axe. You have different tiers of woodcutting axes. You have copper, iron, and then silver. They will help you get through resources faster the higher tier you get, but you will always start with copper right there. Right here, you're going to jump across here and follow the edge. You can just swim across if you want, but you spend less time swimming and just coming over things. There's a chest here, usually some loot here, resource wood. You keep following this, you'll come to a waterfall. Go through it, because when you do that, there's another chest here. These ones will usually always be here. I don't think I've ever started a character and there has never been a chest there. So you have multiple options there. Now the next one we're going for, you're going to backtrack and come back over. This place is important because you'll be going down for part of the campaign, but for now we're going to run back here, pick up any resources you come across, pick up all the blue dots. But what we're going to do, because there will be a shortcut that we get right here, but there's a pipe hidden just behind it that lets us pick up more crafting resources for food, because food is a massively important thing. It is the way that you heal in this game, and yet another item for loot. And then you can just jump out right here and into the water. If before you go that way, you want to come down here to the right, there can be loot that spawns in here. There's resources as well, and some crabs that may or may not want to chop your toes off. But it looks like we didn't get anything that spawned, so if you get lucky, you get lucky. If not, make sure you do check there, because as you progress the world, loot always randomizes. So those chests that I all just looted, they will never always be there. They can be random loot, they can be little blue orbs, they can be big chests. You always want to check underneath here, because there can potentially be a spawn like that. And you can get anything from the blue stuff. Like there's never not anything in them. There's always something you can use, whether it's money, resources, anything like that. Always loot everything. Then when you come over here, there should be an enemy. You can sneak up on him and backstab him. For all intents and purposes, I'm gonna just smack the crap out of him. But you'll get a fishing pole from here, which then there should be a fishing node that you can go to and fish from, and you should just be able to hover over it after you have the tool equipped and go from there. Pick up resources as always. If you see chests, open all of them. And you can come in here and grab whatever loads. There is a whisper right here that you can grab as a checkpoint. Whenever you die, you will respawn at the last whisper that you selected. You have a couple of other things too. There is a hidden dungeon right here. If you just started the game, don't go down here. It is extremely dangerous and way above your level. But what we want to do is we want to climb to the top of this tower. There's usually rats or crabs in here, crafting resources, all the like. And then usually there's always an item at the top of this pillar every time that you load in. So you can climb up. Oh my god. Come to the left side of it. Oh, there's being laggy. You can climb up here, walk up, and then you can try and be ballsy and jump across, or you can take the safe route, walk over that and fall, and then walk across. This loot is usually never super amazing. It's RNG based. It could be amazing. It could be something you need. It could just be money. At the end, money's always nice. Now for this next part, you want to sprint, and by doing that, you just want to hold the run button and jump across. The game auto jumps because there's no jump in the game. But if you have the capabilities, you can try and sneak up on people, or if not, then you can just try and dance around this guy. He's going to be tough. If you can parry his attacks, you'll get rewarded for it. It is what it is. There should be loot up here, as well as the hard enemy. This shortcut will open later, but there is a area you can drop down to right here. You'll also be using that sidle effect because you're gonna edge around the wall. And then there should be more loot here. Again, not always guaranteed to be a chest, but if you get lucky, there could be stuff in it for you if you explore. Now, we're not gonna go back the way we came. We're just gonna fall off into the water here. You should be just fine if you walk off at that point. If you fall on the dirt, you probably will die. But there's a little cave back here with another random mob. Mobs have a random chance to spawn as well. They're not always guaranteed to be there. But there should be loot of some kind in here, whether or not it's a dig site, ores, grabbables, whatever it might be. There's always important stuff. Pretty much everywhere you go in this game, there's important stuff because you never know what you're gonna get. You're actually rewarded for your exploration, and that is what's amazing about it. They somehow made even the littlest thing like white items be massively important. But now that we're done with that, we're gonna come back outside here and we're gonna keep on progressing because now we're pretty much done with the shallows. And we're gonna be heading into Mariner Keep, but we have one more thing we can check here before we head over. But right over here, there's going to be an ore deposit and a chest right here. And in this chest, there should be a pickaxe. There is not. Okay, well, usually you take that to get that. But I guess we move on. There could be somewhere else, or I just got unlucky. But we already have a fishing pole and an axe. There's more to loot. So that's pretty much the shallows. You'll get these cool little cinematic cuts as it shows you where you kind of need to go. Before we go into the keep itself, there should be more loot up here we can grab. And if you noticed, if you get next to an item, and always destroy like barrels and stuff, because they could have items inside them too. But if you go up to it, it will show you what is on the ground. So if it's gear and you just don't want to pick it up, you don't have to, you can leave it there. But I'm a loot goblin. I like my items and my money. So we going to take it all. But you get up here, there's usually an enemy that spawns here. Not always a guarantee, like everything, but he's faced the other way. If you crouch and walk up behind him, you should get a prompt that pops up like that. It's a skull. You can execute mobs and backstab them and everything, and they should die no matter what level you're at the beginning. It's when you start getting into higher level mobs that have a lot of life that you will be having to hit them after you backstab them. But after that, as we can see, there's another chest there. We'll come around to that. Because we want to go get a key and a shortcut open. So we're going to kill these guys and move past them just so they're out of my way. I'm targeting a rat. And then there's another chest here. Really wants me to fight that rat. And then there's resources abundant. You can cut down these trees. They are going to be really important to you. I highly recommend you take the time to get them because they will come in handy later. And we'll go into that in a little bit. But as you come up here, there should be a mob. There could be one or two. There's usually one mob here, and then maybe one patrolling down this way. So you might still run into another one. So just be careful that you don't run into it thinking you're free and dandy and then get smacked in the face by something. But we're going to grab our loot in here and be a loot goblin, grab all of our stuff. Anytime you get recipes, I highly recommend you use them and learn them because they will help you make food, because food is love, food is life in this game. But now you're gonna come over to this ledge right here, barely walk off of it because there's another little ledge you're gonna fall on, and then you want to fall on the next one. If you fall off all the way, it'll hurt, but this is where the storage room key is, and we're gonna use that later. And fall damage is evil in this game. It will kill you. But then we're gonna sidle across, kick this down. So now we have a shortcut open that leads to the that leads to the shallows. So if we spawn at that one, now we have a shortcut to get back in here instead of having to run back through all of that. There's always a dirt plot in here that you can dig and all that jazz. Now we're gonna come up this ladder and we're gonna go up the stairs. Careful, this guy, he always shoots one arrow every once in a while. Just knock him into the abyss if you can, or do that. There's always an item out here as well, and this is where that pickaxe is at, always on this ledge. So you can go back to those deposits that you found and get that, but that pickaxe will be right there. Free guaranteed, you don't have to buy it from a vendor and all that jazz. Die rat. Another archer, I think usually spawns over here. I don't think I've seen anything else there. But there is a shortcut right here that we're gonna unlock in a little bit because we can't open it yet. Because we get that key from a quest line later. So don't worry about that. That'll be something that we do in a little bit. It will not be forgotten. But we're gonna hit this whisper as we fall down. You can take ladders and all that jazz. There is a little drop down right here. So we're gonna drop down that, and then there usually will be enemies in here. Be careful. But if you come through this little doorway right here, it's like a fireplace or some shit. I don't know. Storage area. There should be another chest or some loot in here. Again, be the loot goblin you want to be. Pick everything up. Because everything in some way, shape, or form can be worth it to you. Even if it might not look like it, you can still sell things for currency. You can destroy them down. So like if something has a rune that you want to use on it, but you don't want to take the time to use the item, you just want the rune itself, you can smash it off of the item and put it on something else. I'll make a whole video on that. But yeah, you come back up here. You can do this before doing all that. Just to the right, you can climb up just right here and loot that. And that's just another form of loot. We're gonna fall down again. See a little bit of fall damage from that, so just know you take farther falls than that, it gets incrementally worse. We're gonna come through here and you'll hear a dialogue proc. You just want to keep running through and deal with the NPCs that are over here. So that key that we picked up on the ledge over there, this is where the storage room is. It's tucked away nice and neat. And if you notice, if you step away from it, there will be a light glint on it, like a shiny little glint that tells you that there's something over there. But we use that key, and now there's more treasure in here for us, and a shovel. And that shovel will be used to dig up the dirt patches that we went past. So if you want to go back and dig through them, I highly recommend it because they give you resources. And there could be items. There could be so many different things in dig spots. They're very useful. And then out here is where you're going to find the key to progress the storyline for this area. So you're going to come back over to the door that you hear people talking about over here. And we're going to come over here, open it up. And then once you walk in this room, you cannot stealth into this room. It will always proc all three of them. So kill them as quickly as you can. And then you're going to progress the quest with our buddy Fillmore here. And then I'll let you guys listen to your own lore and all that jazz. I love lore. But I am going to get rid of all of this junk that I picked up because I'm going to need the space for it. I don't need level 5 stuff. As fun as it is. But we're gonna deal with this, and this is why it's important. All of that stuff I just sold is giving me currency, and it's really nice because I'm generating money while just playing the game. But we're not done with this place yet. We got the quest item that will help us move forward, but there's a couple other little treasure spots that we can look at real quick to see if there's anything good. There will always be an enemy up here, so be careful of that, but there is loot right there. You can check it. If there's anything good, sweet. We got a bomb. Got the holy hand grenade, but there's also another spawn for loot. You're gonna get up just the way I did right there. You're gonna climb up on the banister and then climb up on the wall, and then you're just gonna follow the wall. As you follow this wall, there will be loot up here, and this has a random chance to turn into an actual treasure chest. So always be cognizant of that because there could be loot there that you just missed on accident, or there could actually be something good. But the verticality in this game is very insane, so just when you thought that you're done looking in areas, chances are you're probably not. But we're gonna drop down here because there's another little ledge. I'm just gonna show you that this place exists, but there's probably not loot over here until you come into the end game. Oh hey, there is loot. RNG baby. But just sidle on out here, loot it, and take the route back. I'm more than positive you can't jump back because if you do, you end up in the shallows. So just Play it safe. You don't want to backtrack all that time unless you want to. The game is yours to adventure how you will, but there's usually always a copper node in here, or not always, there's always a copper node in here and a lootable, but you can use this fire to cook at and all that jazz. Just behind it there is a ladder that you can go up, and this is how we're going to traverse the area for, you guessed it, more treasure. You want to run, jump across, and then lightly, ever so lightly, pay attention. If you're crazy like me, you can sprint across this once you get good enough at understanding how it works. Open it on up, get your loot, and move on. And we're just gonna go back down the way we came, and now we are going to keep progressing the area because now we've done everything that we really can thus far. You're gonna kill whatever other enemies are in here because experience is love, experience is life. You want all of the levels because every little stat helps. Especially in this game where progression, like you could move forward on one boss real easily and then be stuck on another one for a while. So always level up, always backtrack if you need to. As we come over here, there's a little window we can walk out with a little cinematic view. There's usually a chest or some sort of loot here on the right. And then we can come down in here, and from that, so if you come up these stairs, there's going to be this node here always. But you take a right, there should be this, which you come up to and interact with now that you've got that quest item, and it'll open the gate. You can interact with it again if you want to close the gate, but I wouldn't. Okay, no, you can't. Never mind. I'm just pulling your leg. But I did forget about one little spot here, so let's come back up this way. You can use this to try and retraverse up, but there is a piece of loot that you can get to right. Oh my god, here. The safer way to get to this without almost falling off the map is to come over to this wall and then shimmy across it to sidle it. But you can do that. It's just above this whisper here. There's a ladder that you can take in this board. You can follow all that jazz. And to actually speak from here, there is another piece of loot we can get if we come up here. Not always here, at least like chest form, but there is some loot for us. So let's be a loot goblin, get our stamina. And now we can progress on through and get some other shortcuts opened and keep on progressing the area. So let's do that. Floop. My knees. Okay. I always find that if you want to get around faster, you can make sure that your weight class is in light, because if you do that, then you get a large evade, and you can get around a little bit faster by just evading. As you come through here, there will be a little drop down right here that you can get to. It's usually an item on this corpse. Item, I say item, loot. Come over here, there is a dirt pile that you can get. More resources equals happier player. Another tree right there. And now we're confronted with this wall, or this this bridge that is up, and this little area we can go down. You want to come down these roots real quick and walk across here, because we have another little piece of treasure just hiding up here for us. And then you want to just drop down right here. And you can drop down here. The fall damage shouldn't be too much, if any. You want to pick up your loot, and then you'll see there's a chest right there. We'll get to that in just a second. But you're going to come from that ladder out here and kick this ladder down. Now you have a big shortcut that will lead from the next area to the shallows, essentially, without just nose diving from the top and diving into the water. So now you can get back up and progress through here as well, in case you fell down or you were in the shallows and you want to come up to Mariners. You've got that shortcut open now. So now we're gonna go up and pull the lever and walk on. They give you time to walk on. It's not like Dark Souls where if you pull it, it auto activates. Be careful of this part right here. There's a guy always above with a crossbow. Easier to just stand underneath, let him shoot the floor, and fight the guy here if you can. You do have some leeway on walking around, but make sure that you try to stay like in this region, because he'll always shoot the floor. After that, you just want to try and sprint up if you can. If he tries to shoot at you, evade. And then if he tries to swing at you, punish him. Too easy. But there's another item right here, so let's climb out right there. That one should always be there every time you come through on a first play. I don't know if extra loot spawns there or not, but you should be able to see if there is an item there. But then you're going to do a little jump across and then follow this path right here. And there is a little jump down. You want to jump. If you just walk off, you have a big chance to just fall to your death. So don't do that. Just run and jump off. You'll be fine. Next thing you want to do, you don't have to talk to these NPCs if you want. They'll tell you some lore about what's going to happen, some dialogue. But you're going to come down from that fire and you're going to go to your left, and you're going to kick this wall down and turn it into a bridge. Now, the funny part is you can run while this is going down, but it will auto-register that it's there. So you're just like, okay. You're not going to fall unless you decide to nosedive off. But before we continue through the Orban Glades, we still have some Mariner stuff to explore. So you're going to come back in and pull this lever, and what it's going to do is it's going to go down. Because there's a top and a bottom to this elevator. Well, now that we've gone down, we take this way, and now we see that treasure chest that we saw before. So you can get that loot. And then take the loop back, go back up if you want to, but we're not going to go that way. We're going to go this way. So here we're going to come to an area where there will be another shortcut that we'll get, but that will be in the Orban Glades. So we're going to open our loot here and explore. I'm just going to show you guys what the area looks like because there's a little bit more to this place. Careful when you come over here. There's usually enemies on this island right here. And sometimes they can be SOBs. So just kill them, and then you've got plenty of areas for resources and other stuff like that. Like there's a dig site and a tree there for us. And best of all, more loot. There's a chest that usually spawns there. More times than not, there's always loot of some kind, but you can jump up here as well. And there's also loot up here. With an item, or not item, but with resources to tear down and the like. So you can just hop off, don't die, go back the way you came, and then do that. So that way you don't break your knees. But if you swim over here, there should be more resources that you can dig up, and this crab has a chance to turn into an enemy. Usually you want to kill them anyways because they drop resources. If you want to get in a fight with the wildlife, that is totally up to you. But you can just dig on through and loot it. Money and clay, sweet. And then there's another little nook over here. This chest, what's funny is some chests you won't notice. But usually these red chests will have a glow or a sprinkle to them. So if you see something like that, then make sure you keep your eyes peeled because you could totally walk right past it. I totally could have missed that right there. But that should be everything that's out here. You might find little fish pools that you can get fishies from. They're very important. And then this is going to be another shortcut to an Orban Glades area. So don't be discouraged that you can't go through it now. But let's go back the way we came. We're going to go back up that ladder and get out of here because there's nothing else that we really need. To my knowledge, the only way that you can get in here minus doing some crazy jumps and flying off stuff to get down here, but best to just follow this route. So now if we come through here, so yeah, come back through here and you go back up this ladder. And we go this way. And here we go. Now we come back this way. So that should conclude your walkthrough of the Shallows and Mariner's Keep. There are going to be a couple of little areas that are still Mariner's Keep, but you have to go through Orban Glades to get there. The first thing I'm going to do is show you this area, because this will be part of a quest that I'll do an entire side thing about, because this one is a big area all on its own. But there's a ladder just there, and you walk into here. This will take you to where you find an NPC in a side quest area. He's valuable if you want to craft elixirs, repair powder, and throwables and other things like that. But you just run on down here and you'll find this clown. He's just right here. You talk to him, you get a dialogue line. He tells you to do something. I'll make a video about this. I'm not going to go through this area right now because I want to do the main above map stuff. But we will cover it. So when you get out of here, you walk back up the ladder, and if you can walk up a ladder, that's insane. You're going to climb up this ladder, and when you do that, you have two different directions you can go here. You can come back up to the fire and walk up this way and take a little route here. But what I would recommend you do is you come back down this way because we're going to be going that way anyways. So we might as well do something that gets a shortcut open. So we're going to go this way. So you're going to find another whisper here with a bunch of resources around it. Food, wood, fishies in the water over here. We're going to swim through the water right here because there's a hidden board right here, like a wall that we want to break down. Smack it a couple of times, it'll crumple. And usually when you come in here, there's an enemy and some up to the left on the ledge. You want to walk through and show this guy who's boss and open the loot that's over here or whatever might be here for you in your playthrough. Beautiful part is no playthrough is the same, but usually you can get a good idea of what will spawn in an area based on multiple times going through. But deal with these guys that spawn. They can be annoying. Pick up your resources, pick up your loot, be the loot goblin that you want to be. And we're gonna keep climbing up. Up is the way. More loot over here. Oh, hit the guy. There we go. Touch me. Stinky. All right, and you're gonna walk out this back hole in the wall down here. When you get here, the only way to go is down, but as we saw over here, there is loot here, so I'm gonna be the loot goblin and get my resources. You can do drop attacks on mobs in the game, but be careful, it is at the risk of your own health, so don't die just to drop attack somebody. It's not worth it, I promise. Might be funny though. Definitely catch some air. But there's another fire here that you can rest at, and by rest I mean you can interact with it and cook your food. You'll find more recipes to cook higher level foods as you go. You'll come out here. There can be a chest that spawns over here. Loot, usually it'll be like right here. If it does spawn, again, we didn't get it, so it's all good, but more resources. There is a wall here. We're gonna go up it in just a second, but just to the left of it, there is some wood to walk across and another chest. As you can see, the loot is abundant in this game. There's no not getting loot in this game, so you're rewarded for exploring. But we're gonna run on down, and there's a whisper here. Activate it. Remember, whatever whisper you interact with is the one you respawn at when you die. If you die. Goal is not to die, right? But we're gonna come over here. You can't really see it all that well here, but if you approach the ledge, there is this ladder you're gonna kick down, and now we have that shortcut to the chest that we already opened, leads back to Mariner's Keep, all that jazz. So if you don't want to go through all of that, now you don't have to. As we come up here, there's gonna be more enemies. You got a guy hiding up there usually. There's not always a mob that spawns here, but he can spawn here. And as you can see, we got a chest right there. You're asking yourself, well, how do I get there? Well, guess what? We're gonna go this way. As you walk down here, you have a little bit of wood that you can jump across there, but we want to check back here because usually something can spawn right here. Again, break open your barrels, be the loot goblin, check everything. You never know. But you should just be able to make a jump across and open up your plunder and then just nosedive into the water down below. When you do that, there can be loot over here. Not always a guarantee, but check it. And then you should have fish, more resources, other stuff like that. But we want to swim through to this other area. There are like tough enemies in here for when you are initially leveling. They will hurt you if you don't get on the island fast enough and start evading. So be careful of that. But we've got loot here. We're gonna go over here. There's another little like side island over here with resources and potentially an enemy. I think more times than not there's usually an enemy that spawns over here, but just come over here, show them who's boss, and then get a move on. More fish, and then there's a big platform over here. This usually spawns with a dangerous enemy, or this will be a place where bounties will spawn. Sometimes bounties will show up so you can see where they are, but sometimes they won't. So if you do have something that says come to the Orban Glades or Mariner's Keep, usually this might be a place where they could spawn. But there's usually loot of some kind over here, so be the goblin, steal it. You need it more than they do. But when you do that, you're gonna go from that direction and come down to the bottom of the screen, and you're gonna swim all the way to this little shore right here, and then look to see if there's any loot. We have another chest. Resources can also spawn over here, so if you see dig sites or herbs, that has a chance. But the main point that we came over here for is you'll see this rock right here. If you swim down here a little bit, now we can open that shortcut that leads back to Mariner's Keep. So that way we don't have to go through there, and we can kind of connect these on our farming route, whatever we might be doing. And with that, that's everything down here. So we're now going to take the upper part. I would take to loot everything because I love it, but for sake of time and efficiency, we're on the road. But you can grab this ladder, it'll lead you all the way back up, and we're gonna backtrack to this whisper. From this whisper, we should have everything opened except the top part of the map. and now we'll explain. So if you walk back up the way we came, we're going to come to that wall just before that loot, and we're going to scale it and go up. Be careful when you get up here. There's usually a mob up here, but there can usually be treasure. So risk reward, we're up. So kill the stuff, loot the treasure. Always check the ledge out here because there might be some things that spawn out here. You never know. But we're going to keep going up. There should be a little ledge that you can climb on here, and then just keep pushing up and you should be at the top. There's tons of resources out here, chests, all of that jazz. But we're going to continue up, and there should be another root wall here that we're going to climb up, scale it, get to the top. Watch out because there could be tough enemies up here, much like this guy. We're going to just eat all that for the sake of eating it. But we're going to kill him, and there's going to be more mobs up here. There's usually, I think, 3 that spawn, and they can all vary. There is a little shortcut area here. I don't know if it's entirely finished yet. I haven't solved it yet. I'll get back to you when I solve that. But you can go down there. There's a whole little area you can explore, get some treasure from, but I haven't quite solved its secrets yet. So I'll give you an updated video with information on that side area. But kill the guys that are up here, as we saw. Treasure chest, yeehaw. Loot it, move on. And right here is where we're going to get that shortcut. So here's another shortcut that we can't get until we unlock town, so don't worry about it. But you want to kick this and progress down. Now, this would be the area that we would have come to had we gone on the upper path from the Orban-Glades Whisper, but we're going to take the backwards approach to get back to it. So with that being said, come over here. There should be another mob, and then treasure. Always has a chance to be a big chest, small chest, little blue orb. Always check. We're going to come down and around, and there should be more mobs over here along with a ton of resources and stuff. Make sure you're paying attention, because just like this guy could come out of nowhere and totally curb stomp you like he just did me. But we show him who's boss and we move on. I'm not giving myself a good case here. I look like I just started the game outside of knowing where everything's at. But after you loot that over there, come over here and there should be more loot for you to pick up. I thought that squirrel was a dot for a second, but we're going to come down here and we're going to find another treasure chest. Careful, the wildlife likes to beat you up. Show it who's boss, get the resources. But sometimes there could be a chest here. This is not always a guarantee, but we're here for this shortcut. Now we can go from Mariner's Keep up to the top. If we want to, this is where that elevator is, and you can do that if you choose to. But we're going to come across, grab this item. Just so happen to be plagued, which is awesome. Because plagued items can be really good, or they could be really bad. It really just depends. We'll do a whole gear crafting thing too, so I'll explain that more if you guys want to catch that other video. But we're going to backtrack to here, and now we should have an overlook of the whole city, not the whole city, but part of Sacrament, the main city hub that you'll be going to. Check along this path here. There can be treasure, all that jazz. Diggables, resources, you name it. Break open barrels, all this jazz. And you should be able to walk down this way. Now, you'll see that there's kind of a chest that's up there. If you can't see it, it's a little too dark. It is the night. There is another shortcut that will unlock a little ways away, but we're not going to worry about it. But this is where you would have come up had you come from the fire. There's a wall here that will scale down. So now we've pretty much completed the full loop of the northern part, but there is, and when we get towards the boss arena that's up here, I'll point out something, but as you progress up here, you'll get a spooky little thing that happens. We are not worried about it because we're going to kill that boss instantly. No, but when you wrap around here, there's going to be ore deposits and trees, so you want to come from this bright little patch of moonlight and corpse if it's there for you. Loot everything that you see, all the resources you got. It'll make your food. It'll help you upgrade stuff in town. When you get up here, there will be mobs, so be careful. They can give you the what's for. These guys really hurt. Or they could just walk themselves off a ledge like that guy's about to do. Oh, he decided not to. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, now you've got resources that you can dig for, grab, all that jazz. Cut trees down here, then walk across this stream. Don't fall to your death. It will be very tragic, and you will have to run all the way back here, which actually won't be too far. Deal with big old boy that spawns here, and there should be more treasure here. Loot it and move on. There should be a tree, a fallen one, that you can come across. You can sprint up it if you like, if you're crazy, or balance across it. Again, more resources here, more trees, more diggables, all of that. This is a good place to get a lot of resources from. As you can see, a lot of mushrooms. But we're going to progress past that because just right here, there's another chest or loot spawn area. We love our loot. Now you're just going to drop down off of this so we don't take a whole lot of fall damage. Plus you could try to jump in this lake. Just be careful because you could potentially hit this island and die. So don't do that. But stuff has a chance to spawn out here. But we're going to keep going across because there's a little pier right here with some treasure. More pick-upables as far as resources, mining deposits, all that jazz. And more fishies. Fish are important if you're doing focus builds because they have focus foods that revolve around fish. So fish to your heart's desire because it'll be useful. But this is where you will come to the first boss. That should be, as we've gone through everything, that should be the Shallows. That should be Mariner's Keep minus the other part right here that we'll get to in a moment when we pick up a side quest. And the Orban Glades minus the one shortcut that we need to get for from inside Sacrament. Now, right here, you will see this ladder. This leads to a shortcut that will take you to another part of the game, and we'll get that in another walkthrough. That will be the Lowland Meadows walkthrough because you cannot access this until you get to that area. So you'll just have to deal with not having access to this for a good minute, which sucks, but it is what it is. But for now, head in to this boss, watch your cutscene. I'm gonna skip it now so you guys can get the full immersion for your thing. But he comes in here and you can just mollywop him. For all intents and purposes, I'm going to summon a meteor on him if he doesn't jump in the air and run away. Come here. Oh, stop it. Meteor. Okay. Kill the boss, and if you get lucky and loot him, he has a chance to drop a unique sword. If you get that, Poggies. If you don't, kill him again later. He'll show up again in the end game. But until then, you're gonna walk up here and it'll spark a cutscene. Now we're gonna do two things that will allow us to find the rest of the things back in those areas we just were at. So with that being said, you're gonna talk to Caroline right here, get her quest, and it should say the innkeeper's husband, I believe is the name of the quest. Yes. And once you have that, then we can go back to the Mariner's Keep. For now though, you're gonna go to the far left of Sacrament and find this wall, and you're gonna start climbing up it. You're gonna climb all the way to the tippy top. And once we get up here, there's gonna be another wall to climb up, but this one's much smaller, much shorter. There's a fire up here where you can cook food, and here's where this shortcut is that leads back to the Orban Glades. So then you can come over this way, and usually there's loot over here, but we don't have any, unfortunately. So big sag, but there can be loot that spawns there, so just know that. But with that being said, we're just going to make a beeline back to the Shallows, because that is where our quest progression is going to start. So now we have all of this interconnected. We can just run through everything, no worries. Now that you've left though, mobs have potentially respawned, so just be careful. Because when you leave an area, it has a chance to repopulate, whether it's loot, enemies, things like that, so just be careful. Also, if you don't have the elevator up here, the lever is just right here to the left, so pull it, wait a moment, and it'll come back up. The only funny thing is you have to pull it again to go back down, so yoink it and then walk onto the elevator and go back down. If you want to, you can go back down the other way and follow the root wall down, but this way's a little bit quicker. So we're gonna run through here until we get back into Mariner's Keep and keep on following the main road through and through. We're going to go this way And we're gonna follow this right here. There's a little roof that you can walk on if you just kind of kitty corner that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down this ladder because we need to get back up to the top of the bridge where I said that quest was gonna be. So we're going to jump into the water here, swim across to this little island over here. And if you don't have the stamina to do that, be careful because you will drown. So if you don't have enough stamina, just come back around the right side. So come down that shortcut, walk across the beam, come back this way, and then you can do a little roundabout of this tower and come back up this way. But when you walk up to this tower, you'll hear Gordon start talking. You'll hear him call for help. Cat got my tongue. And when you come up here, it'll be the same thing. Instead of an enemy NPC, you should be able to just jump across and talk to him. He'll give you the quest and he'll be like, hey, see if you can't find another way. Now this body wasn't here before. On this body, you should find the key that opens the Western Bridge. The Western Bridge door. So now what we can do is right here, I'm gonna teach you a little something that you can do that saves you a lot of time. But you just climb up right here and yeet yourself off. You'll scream like you're gonna die. Your character will make that noise and you will hit the ground like a sack of potatoes. If you hit actual ground, but if you hit water, there's no fall damage hitting water. So you can use that as a little shortcut to cut your adventure down in time. But we're gonna come back up around this tower and head back to this door that was locked here because now we have the key and now we can kill mobs. So there should be a guy right in here, or there's not. All right, cool. But you've got some dig sites. There's another little dig site down beneath there. But you can kind of gimmick this. There's some treasure that you can get here. You can take one of two ways to get here if you don't want to accidentally fall off. You can climb up there to grab this, or you can use this path right here. You can use this tree to then jump over to this ledge, grab it, all that jazz. I'll actually show you the way to get around to that part. So let's go this way. So you progress this way if you want, or fall in that hole. There should be a dig site there. So if you fall in here, all you need to do is just jump up on these and you can climb out. But before we get the next area open, oh, go to sleep. Before we get this next area open, which this is what we'll use to progress, we're gonna show you all the little nooks and crannies that have extra treasure. Usually there'll be a bunch of barrels here that you can break open that could have stuff like that one. If you want to loot it, more money for us. I am more up than I was before. But you see this like little fireplace here. You can climb up the ladder that is tucked neatly behind it. And as you get up here, there is a little treasure chest. Not too little, it's pretty big actually. It's bigger than you think it is. We're gonna go back down the ladder and double back. And instead of going to the left, we're gonna go to the right, and there will be resources here. But if you come to the north part of the room, there will be an enemy in here and more resources as well as lootables. Some of these can be treasure chests, some of these can just be loot, but you always have these mining resources here, or a mining resource and a tree resource. So if you have your axe and pickaxe that you should have found while we were going through, you should be Gucci. But this is how you'd get to that tree and jump across to there if you don't fall. Sometimes the character won't grab stuff, or you can take this path which helps you get up here and then you follow that. It's just that be careful. If you fall off this, you will either have a really bad time and fall all the way down, or you'll kind of ride the rocks down to the platform where we grab the pickaxe. Well, with that being said, let's progress the area. If we come back over here, we're gonna want to get on this and rotate it counterclockwise. Counterclockwise will make it so the bridge lowers, and then lower it down. And then on the other side of this, there will usually be a few things of loot. Right here, we're gonna see that we've got a big old chest here. And if you go up these stairs, there's sometimes a lootable or another treasure chest. It has the chance to be there. I also think this is going to be a progression for an area later in the future, maybe. But watch out for a guy who's usually camping in that hallway. He can come out of nowhere and scare the bejesus out of you. You can just continue through this hallway if you want to, but there can be loot in here in this little side prison area that you can just climb through. So check it both. Again, you get rewarded for your exploration. Little treasure chest here, which then will have an enemy. Like, there's a lot of breakables in here too, so just give them a little break. You get something, you don't. Move on to the next barrel. But there's usually an enemy right out here, so be careful when you come through here, because you will not be able to progress. Well, if you try and run past him, just know there is a large drop off. So if you don't get away from them and you thought you had places to run, you don't. So be careful about that. But when you get here, it's another little walk across, so be careful. But once you get over, there will be a fire, and Gordon will proc dialogue again, and you'll auto kick this down. You don't have to interact with it at all. But go down it, talk to him, finish the quest, and he'll show back up in Sacrament.
You have my thanks. Wife's gonna kill. I know, Karen.
And he'll give you food, and you can also buy resources and recipes off of him. So if you've been selling all the junk that you've picked up, you should be able to afford it. You can buy the meals off him. His stock will reset every day, which should be every IRL 24 hours. At a specific point in the morning, I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll figure out more on that, but his stock will reset every IRL 24 hours. After you've done that though, that pretty much sums up the entirety of the areas that you can see here in Mariner's Keep. The Shallows minus the little dungeon that we had here, which is just really high level. I will, for the sake of other things, I'll make videos of the side areas that you can go into of these places, but it will not, it won't interrupt you from progressing the story in any way, shape, or form. So that should be the entirety of the Shallows, Mariner's Keep, and Orban Glades. So now what we can do is, after you get done talking to them, the beautiful part about Whispers is come down over here and interact with this whisper that we have, and you can fast travel back to Sacrament, even if you didn't interact with the one in Sacrament when you first went there. And this will let you talk to the innkeeper, let her know that her husband's back, all that jazz. And he'll also be here. And this will be where we'll wrap it up, because that will save the other areas that we've got to go towards for later. But we'll talk about the importance of merchants and other stuff in other videos. But after you get him saved, he'll be in town right here. Talk to him, get everything sorted, and now he's got his kitchen available. You can buy stuff from him again if you didn't buy it from him on the bridge there. And you should be able to come over here to Caroline and get some sort of dialogue from her if you care about lore at all. But I'm gonna skip it all so I don't spoil anything for you. And that, I do believe, covers a good little how-to guide to walk through that area and get to town so you can start progressing in here. I'll do a full thing about exploring Sacrament too, because there's a thing there. But yeah, so if you like what you see and that helped you out in any way, shape, or form, like I said, I'll cover the side areas later in other videos, so that way I can fully explain those, because some of them are a little complicated and a tad bit annoying, but there is a lot to this game that's super awesome. So I hope you found this walkthrough of this first area helpful. If anything, it should be very in-depth. It basically shows you every rock to uncover, all shortcuts open, so now you can make your what's it called, make your experience going through a Sola Sacra more investing, but also efficient. So now you can go from area to area without having to backtrack forever and anything like that. So it won't be overly complicated, and we'll let you get through with the story. But we'll cover more later. Thank you for being here, guys, over on YouTube. Appreciate you immensely. If you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing to the video and the channel, we'll definitely appreciate it. Leave comments if this helped you. Anything you'd like to see covered. I'm always trying to find new ideas and things to cover. We're going to be covering a lot. But thank you for being with us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. Stop by. We're over on Twitch pretty much every day around 6 to 8 p.m. PST, so long as I wake up on time. And come and join us for the shenanigans. I'd love to help teach you more about the game and everything like that. But thank you for being here, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one.